Over the weekend, the House passed a foreign aid package totaling about $95 billion. WENY Washington correspondents Rachel Knapp and Brendan Scanlon are live in Washington with the latest. Good evening, Rachel and Brendan.
Hey there, Renata. Good evening. That's right. Yeah, the House has been deeply divided over this foreign aid, especially that additional $61 billion for Ukraine. That is until this past Saturday when the House passed four separate bills. One providing aid for Ukraine, and then Israel, and then the Indo Pacific, Taiwan, and a fourth included some GOP priorities like additional sanctions for Iran, as well as legislation that could ultimately lead to a nationwide ban of the social media app TikTok. Speaker Mike Johnson had to work with Democrats, especially on that Ukraine aid bill, to get that across the finish line. There were only 101 Republicans who supported the Ukraine aid, but 112 House Republicans who did not support that Ukraine aid, including some of our local members, Rachel.
One of those included Congressman Nick Langworthy. He voted no on this legislation. He commented saying in part that he does sympathize with Ukraine and their efforts to push back against Russia's advances, but he has some issues with some provisions in this legislation. For example, he worries that the loans that we're going to give to Ukraine, some of them, Ukraine won't be able to pay the U.S. back for those loans. But some other members, like Representative Mike Kelly, Glenn Thompson of Pennsylvania, they voted yes for this legislation. Also, Congressman Mark Molinaro, he also voted for this legislation. They say that they're concerned about Ukraine's losing some of these advances to Russia for the security of Europe because of that, and also adding that this aid would provide us build more weapons at home to replenish America's defense industrial base, end quote. And one more thing, Representative Dan Muser of Pennsylvania, he voted present during this vote. But Speaker Mike Johnson has faced a lot of criticism, especially from the far-right Republicans, just to put this legislation on the floor. But Johnson is defying some of these members' warnings and could face a motion to vacate because of it.
As I've said many times, I don't walk around this building being worried about a motion to vacate. I have to do my job. You do the right thing, and you let the chips fall where they may.
And Renata, House members are away. They're gone. They're not in D.C. this week, so we're going to have to wait and see until when they return if some of those hardline conservatives actually move forward with that motion to vacate, with that motion to oust Speaker Mike Johnson, similar to the situation we saw last fall with former Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
And we know some of those House members don't want a repeat of what happened this past fall. But for now, the Senate could take up this legislation and vote on it as early as this week. President Biden was on the phone today with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, reassuring him that once the Senate passes this legislation, he'll sign it so that we can send that aid over to Ukraine. For now, reporting in Washington for WENY News, I'm Rachel Knapp.
And I'm Brendan Scanlon. Renata, back to you.